I was in London 20 years ago doing a leadership workshop. This was in Kensington, and there were about 40 participants in it. And what was very interesting was this, there was one particular participant who was huge. He was burly, a very hairy man, I think about 6'4", and he had a very unusual mustache. It is what you would call a handlebar mustache. And he had this permanent and wide smile, and there's something very infectious about him. He was Marko from Bosnia. He made an immediate mark on me in the very first 5 minutes as soon as I entered this room. And during this break, I started talking to Marko, and he shared this amazing story, and this story made a very deep impact on me. He came to London as a refugee after the Bosnian Civil War. In that civil war, about 100,000 people actually died. It was a genocide. And Marko, with his young wife and two very young infant girls, had to escape to the United Kingdom, to London, as refugees. He had to survive. He did not even know English. So he took up 4 jobs just to feed his family. So I asked him, what jobs did you do? And he said, my first job was that of a security guard in a museum. Then he said the second job was that of an electrician. The third job was I was a plumber on call. And he said the fourth job was that of a dishwasher, dish cleaner, in an Indian restaurant at the heart of East London. And I was just wondering, how on earth do you do 4 jobs? So I asked him the next question, and that was, of these 4 jobs, which was the most difficult? He said, Karthik, hands down, it was being a dishwasher, dish cleaner in this Indian restaurant. One is because this was the 4th job I was doing, and I was doing this between 7 p.m. in the evening until 2:30 a.m. in the morning. And he said Indian dishes use a lot of dairy products like butter and ghee and so on. So it is very difficult to wash these dishes. And he said, remember, London is very cold. It's also very wet. And late in the night when you're washing these greasy dishes, it is very difficult. He said the first 5 days, it was very difficult. Then he said, suddenly, after the 5th day, the job was no longer difficult, and I started to enjoy this job. Now, I was getting really intrigued, so I asked him what really changed. How come you started enjoying this job? He said, you know what? I started whistling a tune. So I asked him, what tune did you whistle? He said, I started whistling a lullaby that I used to sing to my 2 young baby girls. It's a Bosnian lullaby. And he said, when I started whistling this lullaby, something happened. The whole kitchen started whistling along with me. And then he said, even the owner started whistling along with me. And the whole atmosphere, not just in the kitchen, but the whole restaurant changed. And he said, this job slowly became joyful, and every single day I actually looked forward to doing this 4th job. So I told him, you're working from 7 p.m. after already doing 3 jobs, and then you're going on till 2 or 2:30 a.m. in the morning, and what made you whistle? He said, Karthik, do you know something? I never saw myself as washing dishes in an Indian restaurant. You know what I was doing? I was actually putting my girls to school. I was not washing dishes. What he told me not only made a huge impact on me, it completely changed my life. That very instance, I told myself, I'm not doing a leadership workshop. I'm actually here to wake them up and remind them of how good they actually are so that they can make an impact on the world. Why am I sharing this with you? Here is why. Remember this, there is no job or a task which is an ordinary job or a task. Every job or a chore can be magical if you change your relationship with this task or job. When you look at the larger picture, when you look at the bigger meaning and the larger context of what you're doing, you will suddenly realize that every task is actually intrinsically purposeful and even magical. Change your relationship with what you're doing, and when you do that, everything you do becomes magical. It transforms your job and it eventually transforms your life, and that is not the only thing that happens. It transforms and uplifts everybody around you, and it makes life itself beautiful. So make everything you do a labor of love.